This is a 1978 London Underground train.
A company called Vivarail has bought enough of them to create 70 new trains for the north.
They were heading for scrap, but Vivarail rescued them.
We will make these feel like new trains.
With what's being hailed as groundbreaking.
However, this story was almost too good to be true.
10 people were rushed off the three-car train after its engine caught fire near Kenilworth Station.
In December, passengers were stuck for hours.
Vivarail Limited have gone bust.
Our story starts in 1978 on the District line of the London Underground. The 1937 tube trains are worn out and need replacing, and so in 1978 Metro Camel designed the D-Stock trains. These are better and certainly newer than their predecessors, but were withdrawn by 2015, with the last running 2 years later as they were being replaced with the newer S-Stock trains. But rather than the usual fate of being scrapped, they are bought by a company called Vivarail for £2 million. Vivarail, headed by Adrian Shooter, a lifelong railway enthusiast who worked at British Railways, funded the company in 2012. Shooter purchased 150 driving motor cars and 300 carriages. Why?
Well, there is this dire shortage of carriages on the Northern Rail network at the moment. For them, it would be a quick, low-cost solution to boost capacity and reduce congestion on Yorkshire's trains. The solution for Shooter was to build a diesel-electric train that would fix a shortage of affordable, modern rolling stock on Britain's regional rail routes, resulting from the slow pace of electrification.
We're keeping the basic body shell, to which will be added modern state-of-the-art traction braking equipment, engines and all the transmission.
2 prototype units were made, 23001, which is a diesel-electric multiple unit, and 23002, a battery-electric multiple unit designed for operating on partially electrified routes. The trains are labelled as Class 230D trains. The first operators of the revolutionary Class 230 were London North Western Railway, also known as West Midlands Trains. Numbers 23003 to 23005 went into service on the Marston Vale line on the 23rd of April 2019. These were originally supposed to start running in 2017, but mainline testing was postponed due to a fire on prototype 23001, which occurred in December 2016. The prototype set caught fire at Kenilworth and 10 people were evacuated safely. An incident report produced by Vivarail identified a fuel leak in one of the 2 new engine sets as the most likely cause of the fire, and as a result this pushed back the launch date. This was not the last fire to be seen with Vivarail stock either. The next operator to bite the bullet and buy the trains was Transport for Wales.
Here at Vivarail, looking at the trains that are being built for the Wales and Borders franchise, that Transport for Wales are going to be operating very soon on some key services. And I have to say, I'm incredibly impressed by some of the cutting-edge technology that's being utilised for these trains. It's going to be 5 3-car units that are going to be used by Transport for Wales.
One article stated that the new trains will be built as battery diesel hybrids in an effort to cut down on emissions and make use of Vivarail's new technology. However, despite the initial buzz, a series of unfortunate events would result in the trains arriving 5 years later. The issues that plagued its arrival included yet another fire and this little thing called the COVID pandemic. The Transport for Wales units have a restyled front end, and they retain the previous door spacing. The first run was not exactly successful, as by the afternoon it was 25 minutes behind schedule, then it came to a complete stand with compressor failure, and finally limped into the station an hour late. However, it wasn't just Wales getting its hands on these brand not-so-new trains, as the Isle of Wight also wanted a piece. Now, the Isle of Wight has a fascinating railway history. It was built in 1864, and in 1923, all of the railways on the Isle of Wight became part of the Southern Railway. By 1948, Southern Railways was part of British Railways, and steam trains were removed by September of 1966. In March of the following year, the line was electrified, with Third Rail, and the trains brought over to run on it were 1923 London Underground stock that was dubbed Class 485 and 486. However, as the Isle of Wight is an isle in the sea, the trains got corroded and were replaced in 1989 by 1938 London Underground stock. Progress, I suppose. By 1992, 9 units were running on the island, and then in 1999, 3 units were withdrawn. By 2017, South Western Railway ruled out another 3, and in 2019 only 1 was serviceable. The Island Line, as it is called, needed some more trains, and fast, and after hitting up Vivarail, they purchased 5 electric multiple unit trains.
The trains that are coming here, like the ones that are already in service in the Midlands and we're building for Wales, are just reusing that aluminium body shell, which is as good as new, and we're building a brand new train around it.
They were delivered in November of 2021. But America was also eager to grab some of these trains, and this came in the form of Henry Posner's idea of using battery trains as shuttles into city centres. In 2021, Pop-Up Metro purchased 2 battery electric trains from Vivarail to demonstrate their use in fast start transit projects in the US. The first train arrived in August of 2021, and a second was sent in the following year. For COP26, a climate conference held in Glasgow in 2021, Vivarail led the alternative traction event and ran a daily service out of Glasgow for delegates and VIPs to introduce this new technology. The train running was a battery electric unit. And last but very much not least, in February of 2022, Great Western Railway signed a deal with Vivarail to trial new battery charging technology on its network. Their website claimed that FastCharge equipment will be installed on the West Ealing station later this year and tested with Vivarail's battery-only Class 230 train, first showcased at COP26 last year. In December of 2022, 2 major events occurred. Firstly, the passing of Adrian Shooter, and secondly, Vivarail heading into administration. This was mainly because of the company having consumed significant amount of cash on product development, delayed introductions on new trains, contract renegotiations with train operators, and higher than expected maintenance costs on the West Midlands Trains Class 230 fleet. The company was facing a 1 million shortfall at the end of 2022, and with primary financial backer Railroad Development Corporation declining to provide additional assistance in October 2022, the company was placed in administration on November 23rd and offered for sale with a loss of 39 jobs. No offers were received at first for the business or assets. West Midlands Trains withdrew their Class 230s from the Marston Vale line in November, immediately after Vivarail went into administration.
We're the victims of a closure. We had closures for long periods of time during COVID for very understandable reasons. We lost an awful lot of passenger traffic at that point, and we're losing it again because of something which is, quite honestly, could have been fixed. Could have been sorted and hasn't been.
And after using bus replacement services for a year, in February of 2024 brought in 3 Class 150 units, ironically the very same trains that the 230s came to replace. The administration also caused Transport for Wales and the South Western Railway to go into limbo. Well, more for the Welsh, as by the bankruptcy they still didn't have their trains. In fact, driver training on the fleet ceased immediately upon the administration process commencing. As stated prior, the first train entered service in February of 2023. As for the Island Line, the trains continued to operate with the Class 484s maintained by South Western Railway engineers, with Vivarail only being used previously for technical support and a supply of certain spare components. However, despite Vivarail's untimely demise, there was a light at the end of the tunnel in the form of Great Western Railways. After Vivarail entered administration in December of 2022, GWR agreed to buy their intellectual property, rolling stock and equipment related to the FastCharge technology, which will allow for its plans to trial Vivarail's FastCharge technology on its branch line from West Ealing to Greenford. Great Western Railway was due to launch the trial using battery-powered 23001 early in 2022, but this was subsequently delayed when Vivarail appointed administrators in December. But on Monday, the 18th of March 2024, tests finally commenced,
with what's being hailed as groundbreaking. These trains, using fast-charging batteries, are being trialled, the first of its kind, on the railways in West London.
At West Ealing, a trial of a fast-charging battery train is being tested between here and Greenford.
I think this is groundbreaking. You know, we are testing technology here that will allow us to run branch lines, maybe short distance trains, with an electric train without electrifying the railway throughout its length.
The train charges in 3.5 minutes at West Ealing. GWR hopes it could be used on branch lines.
On Great Western Railway, we've got more branch lines than any other train operator. We've chosen this line in West London from West Ealing to Greenford to do this trial, but we can take this approach and apply it and operate a route that's not electrified with an electric train powered by battery that charges itself at each turnaround and brings that charge up a little bit and can be out all day carrying passengers. And I think, you know, our customers expect to see us making progress to decarbonise the railway. This technology is not the right solution for every train service, but it is the right solution, we believe, for these type of branch lines.
They did hire several members of the staff from Vivarail to accomplish this goal, but it should be noted that the original company, despite its initial success, crashed and burned, which provides valuable lessons on not how to run a company.